Just before we start, I just want to set a little bit of context as to what the Lalit Suri Group has been doing. The Lalit Group has really managed to differentiate themselves, not only because they have beautiful properties, but because they also really stand for equal opportunity. They walk the talk when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. They have several inclusive policies which actually enable the marginalized communities. So whether it's the hiring of LGBTQI or people with disabilities, they really believe that it's competencies and abilities over limitations. And I think that's quite commendable. They also have done a lot of great work regarding gender, and they have something like 50% representation of women even in their leadership positions. Of course, it helps that it's helmed by the fabulous Dr. Jyotsna Suri, who I think when she started, and I think even now is one of the 2 or one of the 3 women running hospitality companies in the country. They have been a trailblazer and obviously pioneers in the LGBTQI community, where they hire more than 200 people, I believe, and 100 plus transgenders in their ecosystem. It's really fabulous and inspiring what they do. Dr. Jyotsna Suri needs no introduction, but just a few lines. She joined Lalit Suri Group as the chairperson in 2006. And since then, I think has taken Lalit to greater heights and done such a fabulous job of rebranding it and taking it global. She's also a trailblazer, recipient of 13 national and international awards, has been on some of the most powerful women lists featured in renowned magazines like Fortune and Forbes. And of course, everyone knows she's past president FICCI and on many industry bodies. We have with us the mascot and a huge inspiration for everyone, Keshav Suri, the youngest director in the company, who heads expansion, operations, strategy, F&B. The brainchild behind this fabulous nightclub, and if you haven't been, you must. I definitely want to go see it. Kirisu, which has 3 or 4 nightclubs, the first inclusive nightclub in the country, which not only employs LGBTQI community, but also has India's first differently abled DJ, as well as has transgenders and the marginalized communities, various, really supporting all of them. Keshav is obviously well known also because he was one of the few who filed the petition for the writ for revoking Section 377, which was revoked thanks to his very, very active voice. So really, it's such an honor to be with you today. And I'm going to start the discussion with asking Dr. Suri a question about culture. And there are 2 parts to my question, Dr. Suri. One is, when you took over back in 2006, or even earlier, there were very few women. There was just you and Priya Paul, I believe. So what was the acceptance like when it came to being a woman leader and taking charge then? And how has it changed now? Is it any different?
Yeah, so thank you very much for that lovely introduction. I've been associated with the group for almost 35 years now, because I was joint managing director before I actually became the chairperson and managing director. I worked with the master himself, with Lalit Suri, for the longest time. I learned a lot from him. And when I stepped into his shoes, it was very emotional. I have to say that, because we lost him so suddenly that it took us by surprise. And it was not even 10 days after he passed away that I had to step into his chair, because it was required to keep that message across that the group hasn't dwindled and it hasn't fallen apart. What did I face? Well, I faced probably a similar situation that anybody as a chairperson would face. Yes, it was a completely male-dominated industry, very few women in leadership roles. But I think I just carried it with so much confidence that I was accepted immediately. I mean, I really didn't think I left anyone any choice. You had to accept me for what I was, and I grew into the role very, very rapidly. It was confidence, it was perseverance, a lot of dedication, and I pulled it through together. How is it different now? I would say it's a lot better now. There are so many women now up in the front. We ourselves are very, very proud to say that we have 50% women in our leadership roles. And in our board, we have 5 women as to 3 other independent directors. So we actually have overstepped the number. Well, Keshav feels he's a minority there, which is fine. Yes, it's changed a lot. Things have become much better. People are more accepting. And I think more than people being accepting, I think the women have come forward. They have actually been able to accept the challenges of being a homemaker as well as a professional, and have come forward and are doing a great job in our industry now.
Thank you. And I think that's true. It's changing a little slowly, but it is. I was just telling Dr. Suri how disappointed I was in the morning when there were only men lighting the lamp. We need to see more women. This,
why didn't someone bring me up and ask me to come? I would have been able to be the one odd woman there. But
yeah, we would have loved that. And
what a pity. But we'll probably have more women coming up very soon.
Thank you. That's excellent. The second part of, again, a culture question is that, family-run businesses tend to be driven by the founder's vision, which you need to keep intact, and yet you need to change with the times and stay relevant and be relatable to today's, next-gen customer. How have you managed to play that balance and also make sure that it cascades down to, your son and daughters, and generational down, it sort of carries forward?
But, I think family-run business is the biggest asset, I would say, that we have. And it is because of the founder's vision and my vision that we could actually do what we did with the LGBTQI community. And that's what I think has been our biggest strength. So, there is this misunderstanding or a misnomer that it should be professionally run and family run businesses and mom and pop shops. I don't agree with that at all. If it wasn't for the fact that I was sitting at the helm, I don't think Keshav could have done what he did. And that speaks for the founder's vision. So I'm very, very certain that this is a misunderstanding that we need to break. However, you do have to keep up with time, and you have to innovate, and you have to change, and you have a good team in place. So I'm very proud to say that the Lalit team, I mean, there's a lot of them sitting here, are extremely professional and doing a great job. So if you have a good team to support you, the founder and the family-run business can thrive and go forward.
Thank you. No, that's well put. It is a balance, and you need to sort of involve the next generation as well, which is what you've done. So, yeah, kudos.
Yeah. So the next generation also, like I said, got inculcated with exactly the same vision. And like I said, Keshav is there. My other 2 executive directors, Divya and Diksha, they have exactly the same vision that we have and are carrying it forward. So it's not a challenge. On the contrary, it's an asset for me.
Thank you. Keshav, I'm going to come to you. Your journey has been super inspiring and has given hope to so many people. But I'm sure when you decided to sort of come out openly, it took a lot of courage. And we just want to know here, what really sort of prompted you to do that, share that with your parents and the world. And therefore, of course, we've all been beneficiaries of that. But share your journey and since.
So thank you so much. It's really a hard act to follow my boss and to be as articulate and as fabulous as the boss that I am. I'm very lucky that I have a boss like this. I'm going to, however, just bring up one point when you talked about family-run businesses. Whilst, yes, we are executive directors, it was very clear from day one that in our company, if you are deserving of the role, you will get it.
Right.
And for example, our CEO, who's sitting right here, Mr. Vivek Shukla, and our interim CFO is Mr. Rakesh Mitra. And it was never a doubt or a question in our mind or our boss's mind that one of us, me or my siblings, would be CEO or CFO, because we knew that in our team, there are people who are way more deserving than us. And I think that's the same sort of logic. Thank you. That's the same sort of logic that we have used when we work with the LGBTQIA plus community, or with the differently able community, or with acid attack survivors. It's not charity that we're doing or a CSR that we're sort of ticking a box on. It is something that we believe in. It is a part of our DNA: diversity, equity, and inclusion. And equity means for everybody, not just for the marginalized community. And that's something that has been a part of our DNA from get-go. And of course, we're grateful and thankful for our founder, chairperson, and my boss that I get to do this. So why did I decide to come out? Is because I think that I firmly believed that I had to live my truth. And I do not think I wanted to live a lie. I knew from a very early on and early stages in my life that I was gay, I was queer. And I think that my parents also knew from very early on. And of course, there was push and pull and drama. And I, at some point, thought that I'll take the easy way out and marry and completely ruin my life and somebody else's life. But I think that I'm so lucky and privileged, and I have to keep checking my privilege, that I belong to a family that is run by women. I had 2 sets of mothers. I have 3 sisters, and it's the women in my life that helped me become the man that I am today. And
for that.
And if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have been able to come out and live my truth. I have to also just give a shout out to Mr. Amarnath, who's sitting right here, who's been a true inspiration, because he was also a petitioner at the 377. And
congratulations to you.
And when we talk about the hospitality industry, out of the petitioners for the decriminalization, there was Mr. Amarnath from the hospitality industry, myself, and Chef Ritu Dalmia. And that goes to show how inclusive we are, or we don't give ourselves enough credit to. So I can cry about my sob story. I can, but I don't know if anybody wants to listen to a poor
It's actually
old
a success story and an
privileged boy
story.
crying about his life. But look I'm here today. I'm here, I'm visible, I'm seen. Contrary to what can happen in society and how long it can take for my community to get full equal rights, the fight's still on. And I think that more than me, the voices of the millions that belong to our community, be it the trans community, the gay community, the lesbian community, I think their voices now need to be heard. I think we need leaders from this community in every aspect of society. And I think their stories are way more important than mine.
I agree. Keshav, there's a lot of awareness around, LGBTQI rights and about there's more acceptance. We were just discussing this, but the hospitality industry is grossly underrepresented. What do you think are the challenges? Why is it still considered? I mean, they're not really sort of going forward and hiring them, and LGBT, and maybe the community is also not coming forth and joining the industry because they don't perceive it as an attractive enough industry where they feel safe. So do you have comments on why that's happening?
So I'm not going to sort of publicly shame anybody or any company and their own policies. But what I will say is that have a look at our policies. At the Lalit, we have very beautifully incorporated safe spaces. And I think that's the biggest thing, is safe spaces for this community, for our community. We work with Stonewall and with Pride Circle and have come up with the India Workplace Equality Index. Harvard wants to do a case study on us. And I'm saying all of these things because I think these are tick marks that may inspire other hotel chains and other hospitality industries to also know that it's good for your business. It's actually great for your business. The economic impact that it's basically does to be able to get more inclusion and inclusion policies is great for the business. To be honest, I don't know if Accor is sitting in the room, but Accor is one of the principal sponsors of IGLTA Global, which is International Gay and Lesbian Tourism Association, and to which I'm an honorary chair in India. And I think that what hospitality chains, especially the global ones, that are doing outside India, they need to just bring those policies into India. So I think maybe there has been a little bit of resistance, or maybe there has been a lack of understanding. I think maybe it's that. And I think that the minute you hire people, the minute you try and walk in somebody else's shoes, the minute you see the love and the loyalty that the LGBTQIA plus community brings, because we're very loyal about where we spend our money, all we need is a safe space and a little bit of love and respect. And the minute that also companies see that it's actually economically beneficial to you, and I'm hoping that the Lalit becomes a sort of conversation starter. Lemon Tree does it also, by the way, and very well. And Indigo has started talking about it as well on their June Pride month. So I think it's changing. And I think that maybe we were a little late in India to start with it, but I think we're going to get there. And I think soon the gay mafia will take over.
That's heartening to hear. Coming back to Dr. Suri. We're all also in deep admiration of how you not only accepted Keshav, but also embraced it wholeheartedly. Tell us a little bit about how you were able to deal with that. And secondly, Lalit is more than just accepting LGBTQI and sort of sensitizing people towards it. You're doing so much more with other segments, whether it's acid attack survivors, young girls, people with disabilities. We'd love to know a little bit more about what you're doing regarding these segments.
So I'm going to answer your second part first and then come to the first part. First of all, I don't call them acid attack survivors. I call them acid attack warriors. These girls, and the unfortunate part is that all of them are girls, because they are the ones who get actually, they become the brunt of a man's anger, anxiety, whatever you want to call it. These girls are fighting a war every day. When you stand in front of the mirror and you look at your face, which you try to hide with part of your chunni, it's the war begins at that time. So these girls are working for us, and I cannot tell you how wonderful these girls are. And they are across. They are in housekeeping, they're in spa, some of them in the back of the house as well. So our aim is, again, as Keshav said, it's not charity. It's about giving a dignified life for a person who deserves exactly the same opportunity as everyone else does. Just because he or she has a scar on their face doesn't make their life any different. So we work with that ethos in mind. And for that, we're also skilling. So we are skilling people. So it's just not about, getting in people. You don't need to be a Harvard graduate to come into a hospitality, because we cover from top to bottom in this industry. So we offer them skill training, we train them and then take them on. And you'll be surprised that they are such quick learners. So now I'm going to go beyond the acid attack warriors and go on to the other marginalized communities as well. Because they are so keen to learn, they really pick up very quickly. And then their devotion to duty, and devotion to duty is one of our 4 or 5 core values. Their devotion to duty is unmatched. They do it with such eagerness and with such dedication that they become an example to all the others as well. So that's what we are doing for the marginalized communities. Coming back to Keshav. So I knew Keshav, I knew his orientation, but I waited for him to tell me himself. I did not broach it to him. And the day he came out to me, it was a matter of maybe 30 seconds because I knew what was coming. I was waiting for why? Because I wanted him to have the courage to speak up for himself. And I have to say, Keshav is a very brave boy. He deserves a round of applause. So he mustered up his courage and he spoke to me. And thereafter which I told him, and it was somewhere late at night. And then I said, okay, I'm going to my room. And by then we'd already lost Lalit. He was not there. And I slept at night in my room and he in his. And then the next morning I went and woke him up and I gave him a hug. And I said, okay, let's get started. What do you want to do now? And that's how the journey began. I introduced him into my team. My team accepted him very quickly. It could have been the other way around. I have to say that, it could have been completely disastrous where, there is always, you end up being the butt of a joke and people look at you slightly differently. But I didn't let that happen. I mainstreamed him. He got into the business. He loved his work and his team loved him. And the rest is history. And then he decides to get married. We can't do it in India. So we go to France and we do the wedding in Paris. But I come back and I do a fabulous wedding for him in Goa. It has been one of our best weddings.
I know. It went
And
viral.
post that, I also did a huge reception for him in Delhi. And I have to tell you that I am so proud of my friends, so proud of my friends. Even those who may not have come came that day. And I had 100% attendance in that reception. And we treated it just like any other reception. So they came in with gifts and with lots of love and good wishes. And of course, like I said, the rest is history. So all the more power to you, Keshav. Keep doing what you're doing and carry the flag for your community as far as it can go. You've got Aman sitting there who will be very happy to give you all the support as well.
Ratan, do you want to ask a question? Because I think we're going to be short of time. Go ahead and ask. Someone give him a mic.
Do you want a mic?
Good afternoon, Ji. My name is Ratan Keswani. I just want to make a comment to the general audience here, and thank you so much for being so candid. I used to be with Lemon Tree till a little while ago, till last year. And as everybody knows, we worked a lot with differently able people. And about 6 years or thereabouts, the lady who helped me out with this is Aradhna Lal. She's still involved with it. And we looked at the transgender community as being the next ones, be it done acid attacks, etc. So we worked hard and we went to traffic lights and tried to speak to people to understand what would encourage them, if not. But here's the shocker, folks. I had a dinner at home with my close friends, some a couple of years older than me, some my age, and their children. And the kids were between, let's say, 19 to 23 years old. And the friends were my age and a couple of years older. One of them started to talk at dinner about what a fabulous job we do with the differently able people. And over a drink, I tried to do a focus group. And I asked them, I said, so this is the new endeavor we are trying to do. So how would you feel coming into a hotel where the driver is a transgender, or the bellboy, or the receptionist, or the person who serves in the restaurant, or the housekeeping person, if I may call it that way? And here's the shocking part of it. Nobody in my age group accepted the idea as a guest. Every one of the kids who were between, like I said, late teens to early 20s said, Uncle, what a fabulous idea. They just started working then. And we'll be the first ones to make an effort. The point I want to make is actually, companies can have all kinds of policies, but people in my generation and maybe a couple, 2 decades lower, we need to change our own mindset because we are driven in a particular manner. We think with certain fears. It comes from our grandparents and our parents, and we can't shed that. And unless we do, the policies that any company bring in ain't going to help this effort. It is the understanding and the acceptance to say, actually, the community is much better than you and me. They are much more sensitive, they're much more loyal, like you said, and much more creative, and they have a better guest focus. And just for others who look at it as customers, the highest spending community visiting hotels in most countries abroad is this community and not people like us. So, please welcome your hearts and open them out. You will make a difference.
I
Thank
agree.
you.
Thanks for that, Ratan, and for sharing the lemon tea story. Keshav, do you want to say something?
Yes.
Please.
So quickly, I just want to introduce my transgender team. There are two
Stand
of
up,
them.
please.
Stand up.
Can you stand
Yes,
up?
please.
Mohul, can you stand up, please?
And let's give them a round of applause.
So Mohul is a trans man. We have a trans woman, and I'm very proud to say that we have such an inclusive team. My entire diversity and inclusion team and my head of diversity and inclusion is also sitting right here, Akshay.
Stand up, Akshay.
And Akshay
Amazing.
will be here if anybody wants to go on to their journey of inclusion and in particular understand better the trans community, the gay community, the lesbian community, and any of the other communities that we work with. My team is here to answer their questions, to be visible, to be seen, and to be heard, and to be also proud of their own identity. And I think that's very important for us to do. You have brought up a brilliant point, sir, about intergenerational understanding, intergenerational communication. This works also with within our company. So, for example, Mr. Shukla is CEO, but the kids down the line who are doing the service are 20, 21-year-olds. Does Mr. Shukla's understanding of them and vice versa, them of Mr. Shukla, it's an important topic that needs to be brought up again and again. And it's something that we're working on with the Lalit. But I have to say that a lot of my team members who may be even older, not for 1 second did they hesitate in saying that we don't want to work with the trans community or we don't want to work with the LGBTQI community. In fact, they said, why haven't we done it already? So,
Thank
of
you.
course, that's a bubble that we have created. I know that's not what the rest of the world is, but hopefully and slowly taking our example, maybe we'll reach there.
So I just one more thing on that, we can't wait for our generation to start thinking like I do. For example, you have to make the foray, and we made the foray, and I'm sure that a lot of people are going to take it forward. So I think let's give it up for that community.
Absolutely. I had a few more questions, but in the interest of time, I'm getting glares from the BW team, especially Bhuvnesh. And so I will close, but I just want to say today the voices have gotten louder. The awareness is much higher. Of course, thanks to social media, OTT serials like Made in Heaven, and brilliant films like Rocky or Rani. But we're still struggling with the representation. It's moving a little slowly. But amidst all this, there is a company like the Lalit Suri Group that is doing fabulous, inspirational work that is paving the way for the industry, especially when it comes to some of the sectors like we discussed, LGBTQI rights. Can we today, tourism is always known to be soft power in India that unites people, unites cultures. Can we today make that pledge to be more accepting and to make tangible steps and really sort of welcome people irrespective of how they look or how they choose to love? But let's make that step and make Incredible India more incredible and inclusive. Dr. Suri, Keshav, thank you so much for this amazing panel. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to take a minute. I'd like to take a minute and thank you all for joining us here today, not only on behalf of BW Hotelier, but on behalf of everybody present here. Could I please request you all to kindly come up front for a group picture?
I want to be part of that picture.
And of course,
Because
joining
this
us
is-
on stage is
this is-
Mr.
This session has been on my mind. Me and Keshav, we've been talking. I came to Dr. Suri last. Rakhi, we've been talking. I wanted to do this first virtually. And this was an occasion. And I said, I'm going ahead because, look, I am completely committed to diversity, inclusion, and equal job opportunities, right? So come and invest with us and let's take it ahead. It's a short life, right? We can all live together. We can all move together. And Keshav is also my nephew, if you may, right? So my sister was his Taiji.
His mother, the mother.
Oh, his mother, yeah. So
He spoke about two mothers. That was the mother.
So all the three children have had two mothers. Unfortunately, we lost Ritu Didi, and a little over under 2 years now, and Ramesh Bhai Sahab. So they both went away within a year. So life goes on, like I said. Thank you for being here. This is very special for me. Dr. Suri, like I told you, and Keshav. Keshav was running high temperature yesterday, and there was little chance that he would be here. 12 midnight, I got a message. Keshav is coming. He says, I cannot not do this session. Thank you, Keshav. That means a lot. All right.
I request Mr. Khanna to kindly present a small token of appreciation on our behalf.
Thank you. Okay.
Ms. Lalwani, I must request you to kindly stay back. Ms. Lalwani, I must request you to stay back. We have a small token of appreciation for you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's rim up a very enthusiastic cheer. I know that you all are capable of clapping a little louder. Lovely. Thank you.